Hey guys, welcome. I'm Soulty Ragevin. I'm a Live2D illustrator and rigger as well. And today we'll be talking about Nizima Action. It is an online video editor developed by Live2D, which allows video editing directly with Live2D models. This is pretty good for VTuber shorts content, model showcase videos, music videos, promotional content, and many more. So if you want to try it out, it's free during beta, and you don't need an account to try it out, but you do have to register if you want to save your work. Before we get started, I do want to say that this video is going to be a bit lengthy, so I'll be providing timestamps in the description down below. I'll also be providing feedback for certain features in this editor, but do note that I have already shared these feedbacks with the dev team, so some improvements might be made in the future. First off, we got the homepage right here. It's pretty simple, straightforward, and easy to navigate through projects, templates, and manual. You can browse your projects right here, and for templates, you can go here. Nizima Action does have a lot of templates available if you want to use them. Before making a project, there are two options available right here. The first one makes a blank project. The second one creates a new project when you drag and drop files. Now let's try making a blank project. For this project, I'm pretty okay with these, so I'm gonna click create. And now we have a blank project right here. Just like the homepage, the UI for the editor is pretty simple and straightforward. There's no installation required. Everything is running online through my browser. You can easily navigate the sidebar and palette right here, the canvas, we got the timeline, toolbars, as well as a landscape and portrait mode. You can also resize the panels right here. So if you have experience using other video editors, you'll be able to learn Nizima Action pretty quickly because of the familiar UI. For beginners, you'll be able to learn pretty fast by going over at the lower left corner and going to their tutorials and manual. When it comes to performance, it's fast when you're creating a new project, but it may slow down a little bit when opening existing projects to give it time to load the assets used. So far, it's responsive, but this may depend on your hardware, browser application, or the size of your project. If Live2D models aren't displaying correctly, we just have to increase the memory used by the editor. We just have to go through the upper right corner right here, clicking this icon, user settings, and go to system settings, increase this right here. I'm going to set this to 240 and click reload to apply. And yeah. For the canvas, we can move it by clicking the middle mouse button and then dragging it. For zooming in and out, you just use the mouse wheel and scroll up and down. You can right-click the canvas and do some operations. Let's try adding a text layer right here. If you have a layer on the canvas, you can resize it by dragging any of these corners right here. You can also rotate the layer by dragging this rotation icon right here. Right-clicking a layer will give these options. So a scene inside Nizima Action is where you put all of your assets. So let's try adding a new scene right here. Another way to create a scene is by going to the Scene tab. You can either right-click on an empty space or a tab. Click Create. If you want to rearrange the scenes, you can drag the Scene tabs right here. You can also rearrange them in the scene list. So here in the main scene, I'm going to try and add Scene 1 as a layer. We can either right-click on Scene 1 and add as layer to current scene, or we can go to Scene List, click on the three dots, and add as layer to current scene. And now we have Scene 1 as a layer right here. When you create a new project, it will have video, audio, and subtitle tracks. You can put different types of assets in a track. Let's just select these layers and then drag them over to a video track. In a way, tracks are very similar to a group layer. You can also move the layers individually inside the track as well. For most visual layer types, they will have a placement and opacity elements that you can key. Audio layer types or layers with audio will have audio elements that you can key, such as volume, pan, and pitch. And how the keying works in Nizima Action is very similar to other video editors. Click on this stopwatch icon to start adding keys. And then we go over to other parts of the timeline to add keys by clicking on this diamond icon right here. We can also add keys by adjusting the value. Cutting or splitting layers is very simple. Press S key. We can also use the razor tool to split layers, or you can right-click and select split layer. While you're editing, you can either drag the asset to the canvas or the timeline right there. Now let's head over to the curve editor right here. Right now there's nothing yet. That's because we haven't selected an element that we can key. I'm going to try and animate the position. Right now the keys have auto smooth enabled right here. Let's try other curves like the step. Then let's try Bezier and see what happens. Yep. Let's try the easing presets right here. Expo in out. Let's see what it looks like. There we go. For layer types, we have these available options. For panorama layers, you can either use panorama assets or make one yourself. I made one using an image layer. Let me tweak this a tiny bit. If you want to combine multiple layers, you just have to control-click the layers you want to add, right-click, and then group layers or Control-G. And now we have a group layer. For groups or tracks, they have this group rendering mode right here. It has 3 options available, which is fast, normal, and pass-through. Let's try clipping this bear to myself. In the layer palette, there's an option to clip to layer below. And now the bear is a part of me. Hello. You can also use clipping mask to a shape layer, and it works the same as well. But if we try to combine it with clip to layer below, the bear is still clipped to the image layer while it's also clipped to a shape layer using clipping mask. There are thousands of assets available thanks to built-in resources from sites like Irasutoya, Dova Syndrome, and many more. You can also see assets created by users from the Nizima marketplace. If you want to add an asset to your favorites, just hover on the asset, click the heart icon. Because there are a lot of assets available in the editor, it might be useful to have a sorting or filtering system, especially for assets that are free and assets made by users from the Nizima marketplace. So yeah. Now let's move on to text customization. But first, let's go to text. There's a lot of text templates to choose from. I'm going to try and make my own. Anyways, Nizima Action does have the basic text settings available. You can either use the drop-down selection right here, or you can also click on the font selection palette. Let's try this Luckiest Guy font. Now let's try adding decorations by going here. There's a lot of decorations to choose from. Let's try adding emboss outline. Let me just try and tweak this a little bit. Now let's head over to effects under decorations right here. There's also a lot of options available. You can also switch to list view or grid view. Let's try adding an inner glow. You can add multiple effects if you need to. Let's add noise effect. You can also rearrange the effects, dragging the left side of the effect and moving them up or down. For animation effects, we have start, loop, and animations. They each have their own set of animations to choose from. There's 2 tabs available. For the layer tab, these animation effects are the ones you can use in any visual layer types. For the text tab, these are animation effects that you can only use for text layers. I'm going to add shear slide in. Now let's go over to the loop tab. We'll get animations that will repeat forever. Let's try adding a jump. Let's add an end animation, scale down. And yep, these are text animation effects. I do wanna try out regular animation effects, but on a different layer. I'm going to add zoom in. You can also choose the easing type. So we got smooth, linear, and then bouncy here. But during the bouncy easing type, there's a noticeable fade in and out. So having an option to turn the fading effect on and off might be useful, especially if you're stacking animation effects anyway. Let's try adding a loop animation. For ending animation, I'm just going to add a simple fade out. One thing I noticed is that you can't really copy paste these effects to a different layer. You have to manually add these animation effects to that other layer and readjust them from scratch. So I think having the option to copy and paste effects or animation effects might prove useful. For transition effects, we have these two layers. It can be any visual layers. That also includes groups and scene layers. If you go over the edges of each layer, there's a circle. Just click and drag this over to the other layer. And now we can apply transition effects. We have these transition effects to choose from. I'm gonna try out split. And from here, we can do some adjustments to this transition. And now we have a transition. For audio editing, we have these two layers. First one's a background music. The second one's a sound effect. If we click on an audio layer, we get these basic video and audio settings. Let's try changing the speed, volume, and then pitch, and press play. For this sound effect, we can make it loop forever, turn on loop playback, and extend the range. Press play. And there you go. I think my only feedback is there's currently no option to record just the audio. And while there's an option to capture audio via Live2D tracking, I think having the option to be able to record audio in Nizima Action right away can be useful for quick edits, like voiceover, lip syncing, and using the animator. In the upload, you can add your own files. Just drag and drop your files here. If it doesn't show up, just click this refresh button. You can also upload your own Live2D model, but it needs to be in a zip format. If you hover on the file, clicking on the three dots will give you these options. You can also select multiple files by clicking on the checkbox at the upper left corner. And if you want to access your files from other projects, just go to storage. Let me open this one. And if I click on this asset, I'll be able to use it on this project. And yeah, in the upper part, we have all favorites and recently added. We can create a new folder or upload files as well. Let's try adding a new folder. On the right side of the folder, there's a checkbox, favorites icon, and then three dots. It lets you rename, move, or delete this folder. Now that we've tackled all of the core features, I decided to make a train scene starting with building the train itself with shapes. I've added two people in the foreground and then the subject in the middle. I added effects to give them depth. I tried making it look like a video game loading screen by adding some text. I added a night transition by adding a new subject and background. Then lastly, I keyed the HSL effects to darken the scene. Let's try and export this video right here. Nizima Action supports multiple formats right here. For now, I'll keep it as MP4. For export range, work area only. For video seek method, high quality. It's up to you if you want to rescale your video, but I'll keep it as 1920 by 1080. For keyframe interval, I'm gonna keep it that way. And for audio output, I'm also going to keep it on and hit export. And here's what the video looks like. Now it's time to talk about Nizima Action's advanced features. One of Nizima Action's unique features is Live2D integration. You can either use Live2D models provided by Nizima Action in assets or upload your own Live2D model. Let's check out Nizima Action's available Live2D models. Let's try using this one. For Live2D model layers, they have Live2D facial expressions and Live2D motions. You can preview some of the expressions or animations by clicking on the play button. If you click apply and then go to another range in the timeline and click finish applying, it will set that expression. If you want to delete the expression, just right click on it and click delete. Applying motions is similar to applying facial expressions. You can also adjust the parameters inside the editor by right-clicking Live2D parameters. You can also export your own animations. One thing they've recently added is physics baking. Let's head over to Live2D parameters again, right-click, and then physics bake. From here, we can choose which parameters we can bake for physics. And we have keyframe insertion method. I recommend using the first one. For the frame rate, I'll keep it this way since I want it to match the scene's frame rate. For the last part, we have two options. Let's try choosing the first option. Click OK. And now it will have a new physics property right here. Let's try choosing the second option, which is baking it directly into Live2D parameters. There's no physics property that was added, but if we go all the way down, there are some keys applied here. For the lip sync feature, you need to have a volume reference layer. I'm going to use my audio recording. Assign my audio recording as the volume reference layer and then click apply lip sync. And then let's check it out. Audio lip sync test. 1, 2, 3. And there you go. Next up is the animator feature. From here, we can drag and drop audio files. Let's add the audio recording as a layer. And now we have this audio layer selected. And now let's create automatic motion. Audio lip sync test. 1, 2, 3. We can actually connect Nizima Live or VTube Studio to Nizima Action. I'm going to show you how to connect them first. First, make sure the API is on and the port number in Nizima Action and your tracking app is the same. Next, click register. Nizima Action will pop up. Allow it to connect. Then click connect to your tracking app. Now we can move the model inside Nizima Action. Alright, now we can do some recording. You can also capture audio as well during recording. And then we have curve smoothing. And yeah, just start recording. It also has a timer as well to prep you. This is also perfect for Live2D model showcases, by the way. You don't have to worry about losing quality when you have to rescale the model, and you also don't have to do a lot of retakes. If you have an audio layer for your music, this feature will analyze the tempo. So based on the results, it's 128 BPM. Let's check out the grid. We can also adjust the number of bars. I added a 100 millisecond offset, so let's check it out. And that's much better. Another unique feature Nizima Action has is pattern creation. Let's right-click on the canvas, new layer, and pattern. Right now, it's using the main scene as the pattern. Let's try selecting the Live2D model scene. You can adjust the size and position of the pattern, so feel free to experiment. And finally, we can talk about Live2D action frames. These are Live2D models where you can embed a scene in Nizima Action to its texture with contents and movements that you can edit. We have all the available action frames alongside the ones created by users. You can make one yourself too, so I made a Live2D action frame of a makeup palette. So I have my Live2D action frame uploaded. Let's check it out. Let's see if we can assign a target scene. And it works! Let's try adding some animations. And there you have it, a fully working Live2D action frame. Now that we've tackled everything, it's finally time to add these advanced features to the train scene. And here's the final result. Now that we've seen everything Nizima Action has to offer, I think one of the biggest strengths is how easy it is to use and learn. The UI feels approachable and straightforward without being overwhelming. Another really convenient thing is the fact that it's browser-based. You can simply open it and start working right away without having to worry about downloading heavy softwares or dealing with updates. I also like that a lot of assets are readily available inside the editor itself. Having built-in assets makes it much easier to quickly create content without the need to look for outside resources all the time. And something important to mention is that you can still use Nizima Action without the need to use Live2D models or assets. You can create animated graphics, stream transitions, stream alerts, and any other visual content entirely within the editor. But of course, one of the standout features is how it's specifically designed around Live2D workflows. It helps retain the quality of the model during video editing much better compared to other traditional video editing methods. For example, when recording Live2D models for other video editors, creators often need to chroma key the background after, and while that works, chroma keying can sometimes affect the quality of the model, especially with certain color schemes or other details. And since Nizima Action is built with Live2D integration in mind, it avoids a lot of those issues and helps preserve the model's original appearance much better. If you're planning to try out Nizima Action, what kind of videos would you want to make with it? And if you've already tried Nizima Action before, I'd love to hear about your experience as well. Again, my name is Soulty, and thank you all so much for watching the video and supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. And lastly, another big thanks to Live2D and the Nizima Action team for sponsoring this video and giving me the chance to try out the editor and share my experience with all of you. I'll see you guys next time.